over town singing. Whoa, you ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
What's up, SAFC family? It's your boys here to chat about soccer games and doings over the weekend. I'm your host, Royce. Just fun. You can follow me on Twitter at Royce the Voice. All the O's are zeros. And I guess our co-host today is Rafa. Rafa, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just recovering from all these allergies this weekend.
It won't stop raining, and there's a lot of mold, and it sucks. I agree. I'm on Zyrtec, so I'm good, and I've been on Zyrtec for probably 6 months now. So yeah. That's my tip. Now I remember moving here from Missouri when I was a kid, and I never really dealt with too many allergies in Missouri. Came here to Central Texas, and I was sick for like a month straight, and my parents took me to the doctor, and the doctor is like, yeah, he just has cedar fever. You just got to give him allergy medicine. And my parents were like, what the hell is cedar fever? So crash course, real fun. So let's get on to fun things. Let's talk about the San Antonio's 1-1 draw, which you notice the title of the episode, how the turntables, because now we score last minute to rescue a point on the road. So we kind of pulled an RGB there. It was an interesting match. Definitely very different from the first matchup between Colorado Springs and SAFC. Let's kind of dive in real quick to the kind of the tactical setups, more or less. In this match, we saw the same 3-4-3 that we've been deploying. But this time it seemed like our wingbacks were a lot higher up than they normally are. Typically, I remember the first match that they deployed this, I think it was against Birmingham. The wingbacks kept going over to Marcina, asking him, where do you want us to play? Do you want us to get up more? Do you want us to stay back? And Marcina and the assistant coaches kept telling him, stay back. We need you to cover. This time they kept going forward, and they kind of got beat. There was a lot of joy for Colorado Springs behind the wingbacks, to the point where that kind of pushed out Doyle and Varela on the edges. And they, once again, another team really keyed on Doyle's side, on that right side, our left side, to attack. Rafa, what did you think about that? That it seemed like we've had maybe three matches in a row where they've really keyed on Doyle's side.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed. I guess the pattern. I think teams are starting to see where our weak points at, and then I think I'm not saying that Doyle's a weak point, but that's a vulnerable point. I think that's our vulnerable section of our formation. And like you mentioned, like, you know, we're pushing up a lot, especially on the outside. I think that had to do because of the first game. You know, we really poured it on the home opener, you know, especially on the wings. You know, we exposed them a lot, and that's where we got a lot of our goals. Pacini got the hat trick there. So from plays from, you know, crosses and so forth. So we got caught up. I think Colorado learned from that and took advantage of it. We just need to have, like I said, just didn't have the discipline to really kind of run back and cover those spots. And that's all, you know, like I said, it was a mess, especially, you know, making substitutions after the first goal. You know, it was a little bit chaotic, but, you know, to come out with a point after all, you know, what we're going to talk about, we had some luck luck was on our side. just to say that. I know somebody was lighting a candle for us
Yeah,
But
luck. Thy name is Matt Cardoni for sure.
yeah, and Varela, we're gonna mention him
Oh
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we'll
yeah,
get
for
into
sure.
that. But one thing I think for as far as with the game, and Colorado, with all the changes they've had too, I think maybe the reason why we pushed up, their defense was very inexperienced, and I think maybe that's why they were trying to push up, trying to expose them a bit. But give it to Colorado. They had a really good game plan. Those inexperienced defenders really stayed disciplined and stayed where they needed to be at, but they were able to get those balls and send them down the wings especially to their midfielders, and that was to be able to create those first chances, especially that first goal. So and I think that was maybe with the game plan because they did make, like I said, they had, speaking with the guy from the podcast from Colorado, they made a lot of changes, especially the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
So I think that was the game plan going into this game.
yeah. What it seemed like is, I think you're right with that inexperienced back line. I think Colorado Springs kind of recognized that as being a weak point. And what I noticed is that in their 4-2-3-1 formation, the two midfielders would crash back a lot, and they were the ones that were individually tracking Nathan and
Hmm.
Patino to really keep them quiet, to the point where you had Nathan come back and you had Epps come back kind of later on in the match when they realized that there were five defenders all in the same area, kind of keying around Patino, which kind of led to Patino getting frustrated, which led to other things that we'll get into in the match. But yeah, what it really seemed like was that Colorado Springs would just crash in the middle, because that's really where we hurt them, was right up the middle, and that's where we hurt a lot of teams, is going right up the middle. So they really keyed on that a lot. And then once they would win the ball, they'd go straight out to the wing, and then they would play it down the wing, and then they'd bring it inside. And that's kind of where that's kind of how they would get their joy. Let's go first though with the first big moment of the match in the second minute, when SAFC wins a free kick on our right side, the Colorado left side. Lindley once again on set piece duty, and for great reason, because that was a fantastic ball. Obviously, we don't get the benefit of VAR. We don't get the benefit of an
No.
actual camera angle that'll show offside. It really looked like Doyle delayed his run, but you know, it's whatever the linesman says at that point. But they called Doyle puts the ball in the net, but they call it offside. Is what it is. You got to move on. But once again, SAFC on set pieces looks very dangerous, and that is a foreshadowing to come later on in this match. Rafa,
That would have really, I think, changed the complexity of the game. Had that goal did count, I think, like I said, I think USL doesn't invest in VAR. But
yeah,
just looking at the replay, it looked like he did kind of timed his run. That would have really kind of made Colorado kind of panic a little bit, because they would have like, oh, here we go again. And that's what happened. It was basically a landslide
yeah,
from the first game, so they would have panicked, especially now with the inexperienced line. We would have forced them to make a little bit more mistakes, but they got lucky there, and then that's when they struck on the first one. Um, you know, later, a few minutes later, and that really, like I said, gave them confidence. Kind of for the rest of the game until when we get to the fun part, the fun, nice,
exactly.
exciting action
Yeah,
part of the game.
yeah, yeah. What it really seemed like in the first match when we got that first goal is that Colorado Springs really kind of didn't really change much about their match. They kind of came at us more, obviously, to try to find that equalizing goal. But what it really seemed like was that first goal calmed the nerves of SAFC, and they really just sat back and they waited for Colorado Springs to make their move, and then they set the pressing traps, and then that's kind of when we countered. I think the first, if that goal counts, I think this match is different. I mean, candy and nuts, ifs
Yeah.
and buts, candy and nuts. But I really think that would have allowed SAFC to stay back in their formation, put on those pressing traps, and I think that's what SAFC. Why normally when SAFC scores first, they're probably going to win or at least end in a draw.
Yeah.
But let's continue on, kind of like continuing with what we were saying with what Colorado was doing, was they were really crashing back around Patino and our forwards with their midfielders and their back four. And then they would distribute wide. There's a warning shot that kind of happens in the third, maybe fourth minute, where that exact sequence happens, except Doyle tracks back his man perfectly and ends up passing it right to Cardoni, who gets rid of it. But that was kind of the first warning shot there that, hey, something's happening on that wing and nothing's really adjusted for it. And the exact same thing happens, but this time the ball goes around Doyle. Excuse me, not what happened. That's what happened that time, but Doyle comes around and gets it. The next time, Doyle stands up his man, but the ball goes around Doyle, and DePlane kind of takes a really weird circuitous route to the ball and completely misjudges and misses it. Ball goes around DePlane right to Barry. Barry buries it. Unfortunate, but dad joke time. And it's 1-0 Colorado Springs after that. Kind of the exact same play. You could tell, once again, they're keying on Doyle's side. And this time, a pass goes around Doyle as he has the perfect defensive positioning, but they go around him, and DePlane just fails to deal with the ball, and Haji Berry, and it's 1-0 Colorado.
That play, like I said, Beckford had get an excellent pass. I think from the first game to this game, Colorado needed to get Harry and Beckford more involved, and we saw a lot of it in this game.
Yeah.
From that first goal, that pass, looking at the replay, DePlane really kind of fell asleep. He let kind of Barry get behind him, instead of him being behind him to kind of shadow him and then to react to the ball. And normally as a defender, you don't want anybody behind you. And that's also communication. I think Matt could have told him, hey, you got someone on your back. I think there's a need of better communication back there, letting them know, hey, you got someone here, here, and here. I think had they done that, maybe shadow him from behind, I think that the shot would have been blocked. Or, by the time he reacted to that pass, it was already too late, and he couldn't really close that gap to get that shot. And like I said, Barry, it was an excellent shot that he made. It was a tight one, but he got that one in. So, and that's something I think moving forward on, our defense needs to talk a little bit more.
Agreed.
So maybe that's something. Like I said, I know Cardoni needs to work kind of that. They really need to better have the communication there. Who's behind them? Who to cover and so forth. Because normally on the 3-back defense, you're playing a zone defense. You're not playing man-to-man. So you have to have that communication to know what's going on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it just looked like there was just a breakdown. Like I said, DePlane just takes a really bad route. Haji Berry goes right around DePlane, and even Varela comes over to try to cover. The ball goes in, and immediately Varela just yells at DePlane like, "What was that, dude?" It's like you weren't even there. And then there's about 2 or 3 other plays within the next 10 or 15 minutes that DePlane just is not a factor, and he's the middleman. And this is kind of the issue with letting Colorado get a lot of joy on the wings, and this is kind of what they designed their formation to do in this match, is come out from the sides, and DePlane is in the middle, and he's kind of lost. He doesn't have a side to go defend. He's just in the middle, and so plays end up happening around him, and he's just kind of more of a passenger, more of a not a passenger, but just a witness, just somebody there just to watch everything happen around him. And he doesn't really get involved with too much. And that kind of leads to him getting subbed out. I think he just had a poor match. Maybe it was the altitude. He's played a lot of games. He's pretty much played every game, and it's just one of them. He'll come back. He's been player of the match a couple times, and this team wouldn't be where it is without him. So hopefully this next match, he gets it back together. We all have bad days, and DePlane just kind of had a bad day.
on your opinion, do you think Marcina hit the panic mode a little too early, putting in Axel in?
I don't. Honestly, I don't. I think kind of what I don't think he was getting what he wanted out of his players. At the same time, I don't think that. I think what Marcino wanted to do was more respond to what Colorado was doing, which he responded. He didn't panic. If anything, he kind of responded a little late because it was obvious they just wanted to attack up the wings, and that
No.
putting Schuberg out there to be more decisive and go attack, go shut down. Schuberg out there, Schuberg and Varela almost kind of formed a back pairing instead of just having one guy in the middle, and that kind of allowed Doyle to to go out further. If you look at the average positions, Doyle is a lot further out toward the wing than Varela is, and that's because Varela and Schuberg kind of formed a back two partnership, and then you had Doyle kind of coming out to help cover that left side because in the Colorado right side because they really were king on that side, but that really helped shut down a lot of the chances. But the main person who shut down most of the chances that Colorado got in the first 27 minutes, I think DePlane came off in the 27th minute, was Cardone, because Cardone had some one-on-one saves that honestly it was 2-0, two switchbacks players with Cardone, and he shut them all down, which is it's crazy, and he really
especially that 1v1 that he gets escaped down on the middle. I mean,
right up the middle. DePlane is there, and no factor. He's just.
If they score that one, it's over for us. That would have been over for us. But so you got to give it a Matt. He really stepped up on this. And like I said, when Axel came in, I think things did settle down a little bit. He's got the experience, but I think playing in the 3-back defense, you have to kind of keep things compact.
Oh, yeah.
When they spread us out, that's when we get into some problems. And that's when I think Marcina kind of needs to realize, we need to pull our outside midfielders back more to give that support. And that's really their job, is to cover that area so our outside defenders don't get stretched out. Basically they got to play, I call it the Bermuda Triangle. It's just kind of, make sure nothing goes in through that area. And like I said, I think they did a good job at making that little justice, but still, Colorado kept on, kind of pressing on those areas to kind of get some scoring chances. And then on the flip side, offensively, we just weren't getting any good opportunities. And
the reason we didn't get good opportunities is kind of what I explained, is that they had their midfielders. They would, in the attack, they would go out wide and they would cover, and they would be more give them width. And then whenever we'd get the ball, they'd come crashing right back, and they'd be right in front of their center back pairing to cover them off, and they would just suffocate our attacks, and so we never really got anything going. And that was just on the tactical formation and instructions that Colorado Springs gave out, which was, good on them. They really did.
Nathan had some good runs and had some good opportunities, but I think on the other end, Pacini also needs to create space to get those opportunities. I think he can't just stand around and wait for the ball. You got to create your plays.
Yeah.
And then the great thing is noticing Nathan, he's a creator, and that's I know we lost out. Maybe we lost PC. For a while, because PC is a creator, but having another creator up front too really brings another dynamic with the forwards, and that's what you want. But I think Pacino needs, like I said, just kind of sit around and really make those runs. Epps had some good shots too. I think Epps also needs to create a little bit more. I think a little bit more aggressive as well. But it came to that frustration when we're leading up now to the red card.
Yeah, exactly. 34th minute, Patino gets a yellow, and then 10 minutes later, he ends up with a straight red. With it's just a rush of blood to the head. It happens, and it was just a bad decision. But Rafa, talk about Patino's mastering of the dark arts and how he didn't go down swinging.
Yeah, what I know he slapped a couple guys, and I know the some comments from the RGV saying that we're dirty players and this and that, and
Which
uh,
is fresh from RGV. Sure.
yeah, I'm sure that Eric Pimento hasn't been a dirty player because I know he's
Oh,
following
never.
the Club America.
Never. They've
Um,
never hired dirty players ever. They've never gotten a red card. They're
But with
okay.
Patino, he lost his head. And like I said, players do lose their head. He lost his cool. And you can tell he was frustrated.
Yep.
He just wasn't getting it going. And
Nope.
but he knew we were gonna go down a man. I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna provoke
Taking you
one.
with
And
me, son.
I want to take you with me. If I go down, you're going down with me, kamikaze style. And
Yep.
so, and you know what? That did a favor for us because if we're down a man, we'll end up losing the game.
Yeah. No, we lose that match because Colorado has the width, and they're just there's no way we come back and get a goal. But
Yeah, suckering that inexperienced defender to react back to it, with that headbutt. That really kind of changed the dynamics of the game. Yeah, we lost one of our star forwards, but we still had plenty of forwards in our arsenal. But not Colorado. Colorado on the flip side lost a defender, and like I said, they were having problems in the back, and losing that I think hurt them more than us losing our top forward because like I said, we have Perusa, we had Dylan coming back. So we were okay there. But now going into the second half, we want to have to now we're gonna have to modify, change things up a little bit. But we're still in this game, and we can still take it to them. We're just gonna have to, and I think they made the right changes at the half. With I know Ollie Wright started his first game, so congratulations on that.
Congrats, for real.
And he had his moments, he had some good shots, and that I think he's still like I said, he's a rookie. It's gonna take him some time to learn, playing at that level, but he's gonna be, like I said, he's gonna be a good one. But I think Marcina made the right choice putting in Jose, and that really did change the game. And
For sure,
really,
yeah. What I noticed is Ollie really he really came back a lot. He was really trying to play as an 8, and he came back and defended a lot, which really kind of takes away his
speed and dribbling.
His top skill set, which is in the attack. He couldn't really get anything together because he was too busy covering the space, and it was him and Lindley that were right in front of our back two, which ended up being Varela and Schuberg, and with Doyle out wide. But I mean, that's kind of what kept it close is that. But unfortunately, like I said, that takes away the superpowers of Ollie. Right is not being able to attack. But when he comes out for Gallegos, like you said, that changed the game. And why that changed the game is that Colorado Springs, instead of having all that joy on the width, now you have Gallegos coming and attacking straight up the middle. They got to crash in, and they lost their formation at that point. They couldn't get a lot of width. They kind of came back, and you had Gallegos attacking, and that's when SAFC kind of got on the front foot there for a little while. Also
we started pressuring more, and then we noticed, and he just kept them off balance.
Yep.
But he was creating opportunities. Yeah, and that's his game. Giving them 1v1s, creating opportunities. I thought he was. For a while, I thought he was gonna land one. Land one from the outside. Being his first game back from the previous injury. But he made that difference, and then when we made that switch with Dylan and Perusa, I was a little shocked about that one. I'm like, okay, we're pulling out a defender, we're putting in 2 forwards, so what are we going to do? But I think that helped us a little bit more, kind of kept up the pressure. I think we're hey, let's pressure their defense. They're going to fall apart. They're not experienced. They're going to make a mistake, and sure enough, like I said, towards the end of the game, like I said, we got what we needed to get out of Colorado with the point.
Yeah, basically, basically what happened was San Antonio FC switched from that 3-4-3 to basically a 4-4-2, and that gave us the cover we needed on the wings, and that may have been what we should have started with because it was so successful against Colorado the first time, which really just shut them down. They had nowhere to go, and I mean that's why we ended up with 3 goals for Patino, but. Maybe that's how we should have started from the beginning with the players that are available. Because I mean the match was just completely different after the subs. And Rafa, I want you to talk about all the subs that in the formation change that Marcina deployed, and if you think that was successful or what are your thoughts on that?
I think he had to do what he had to do. Is like, well, we're still in this. We're down a goal. If we can steal the point, hey, especially on the road, we'll count it as a win. Especially not losing our top forward. Um, like I said, I was concerned when he took out Axel. I was like, we do need. I mean, he's got a lot of experience in the back, but sometimes you do need to roll the dice, and I've done it as a coach before, and it's paid off. Sometimes it doesn't, but
Yeah.
I mean, he rolled that dice. He put 2 attackers. I think with Dylan and Perusa and Gallegos really put a lot of pressure on their defense, and it started creating chances. We're starting getting a little bit more, a lot more space, and then finally we got that right before the end of the game. We got that free kick, and what a beautiful cross in, and
Once again, service provided by Cam Lindley, just impeccable.
And then give it to the birthday boy on his debut with SAFC. Dylan just was able to get that the little match scramble. Was able to bury it into the net, and that really kind of took the momentum away from Colorado. They worked so hard to get that lead and to keep the lead, and now they know that we're gonna lose out on 2 points. So kudos to those changes. It paid off, but we still had plenty of extracurricular time, especially a couple of injuries
for sure.
And you got to give it to our defense too. The guys, Varela pops his shoulder in the game.
Yeah.
We're playing a 9 against 10.
From what Preston tweeted earlier was that apparently he dislocated his shoulder. It was 9 on 10 because we were out of subs at that point. He goes back to the locker room. They reset it, and then he hears the goal happen. Here's Dylan's goal, which, I mean, that's why he's up there, and that's why he's such an exciting part of the team is that height, and that's one thing we talked about in preseason is this is a tall team that's going to be dangerous on set pieces. Bam, right there, to fruition. But Varela heard the goal and said, okay, get me out there. Let's do this. Let's finish this off. We tied it. Let's go rescue this point. And that is I don't know, we need a sponsor on this show or something, but that is the winning mentality moment of the match right there is Varela just gutting it out, which is inspiring for the fans. I'm sure it's inspiring for his teammates. And that's why I would give the man of the match to Joaquin Varela for sure for his performance, shutting down that left side of Colorado, and just
save,
gutting it out. Yeah,
that's one save.
And the goal line clearance. That goal line clearance.
Matt got beat up. That was the only one play that Matt really kind of got beat.
Yep.
And we're like, oh shoot, here we go. We're gonna lose this. But Varela out of nowhere,
right there,
shoots it. With all banged up, clears that shot and prevents them getting from 3 points, and we end up with the tie. So, kudos. It was a team. It was a total team effort, and
absolutely.
I think, and you can tell there was some sense of relief from the players.
Yeah, I think what makes good teams great are these results. Anytime you can get a point on the road, especially in this league, especially at that altitude, that's huge.
Especially we would never won there too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the problems with us going to Colorado Springs, I remember the worst match I've ever seen San Antonio FC play was that match against Colorado Springs, where Colorado Springs was the worst team in the league. and we go over there and we make them look like champions. They have one shot from outside the box that's just upper corner, bang in on the corner, and we have all the possession, but we just kept kicking the ball out of bounds and we couldn't get anything together. That was Lance Lang's worst match of his entire life. Just, we have always played poorly in Colorado Springs, and to get it together at the end of the match and get a point on the road, you can't ask for more. That's such a good it's not a great result, that's a good result, and good results get you in the playoffs, and that's where we want to be. So I believe we've talked that one to death. So let's move on to the other couple of topics we're gonna go over today, and that's the Athenians win. They get their first win on the road. They played a Wilco in Williamson County there. I believe that's Georgetown.
Yeah.
And they went up after the half. They got a goal pretty early in the second half. Wilco scores a minute later, so it's tied going into the 80th minute, and you get Athenians with the winner in the 80th minute, and they get their first 3 points on the road, which is great. A complete turnaround from that first road match where they kind of got hammered, and just a bad game, bad weather, just a bad all-around scene in that first road match. They turned it around. They get 3 points, and you know what? Anytime you get more than 2 points on the road in 2 matches, hey, that's better than getting a draw a game, and that's a huge result on the road, and that's really good for them. Really good to see. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that was a good win for them, and it's a good bounce back game. I'm sure they were coming from that game up in Dallas. They were not.
It has been nonstop raining, and you think it's been raining a lot in San Antonio. It has been nonstop raining. I was watching their weather this morning, and DFW Airport got shut down for like 2 or 3 hours because it was just, you couldn't see anything. It was just rain and crap, and that's how it's been for like a month or two. The Trinity is almost over the banks. It's not a good scene over there, and to play soccer in that, both teams have to play in it, but
yeah, and especially playing on turf, wet turf, it doesn't help either.
No.
But going like I said, going up to Round Rock and getting that win against Wilco, that's a good confidence booster, and hopefully, like I said, when they get the Dallas team back out and Lone Star, they come back to San Antonio, they can learn from that and hopefully get the 3 points from them.
Even it out. Yep, 3 points each.
So like I said, good result for them. They're starting out great. They're at 3-1. Can't ask for any more.
No,
and like I said, if they can continue on, I know they got a big test coming up. On June
16th against Globo America. Yeah.
So that's going to be a very interesting game. It's a good measuring stick because I'm sure they're facing a team that's probably even better than the team they faced in Dallas. But it's a good test for them, and it's going to help them see what works, what doesn't work, and even hopefully out of opportunity. Club America notices some of the Athenian players and say, hey, maybe we want to take some down over to Mexico City and come play with us. And we have there are some former Athenian players that did play with Club America. So if you have a chance on 16th over there, go down there to what's it called?
Blossom.
Homelander.
At the same time, Friday they play on June 11th. On Friday at looks like 7:30. They're playing FC 92 or Side FC 92. Excuse me. They play at Soccer Central, so they'll be back home. And the Crocketeers are putting on a tailgate with free pizza and beer from 5 until pretty much kickoff. So that'll be a good one to go watch. Free pizza and beer and soccer on Friday. You don't got to tell me much more.
And no rain too, so there'll be no rain on Friday. So
I haven't looked at the weather. I don't trust it anymore.
I checked. It's going to be in the 90s. So hey, the beer probably come in handy for some.
There you go. So, keep it cold. On the 16th. 16th on Wednesday, they play Globo America at Blossom. So that should be, like you said, that'll be a really good test of where they're at, and that's exciting for San Antonio in general as well as the Athenians getting on.
Yeah, even I mean, I follow the Club America girls on Instagram. They're actually very excited on their. I know that they're coming on here on a tour. I know they're playing I think 3 games here in Texas,
Nice.
but they're excited about having an opportunity to play here and showcase what they have as far as with their club. But like I said, if you have a chance on the 16th, go check it out. You're gonna see a great game. Like I said, who's to say? Like I said, so maybe some of our Athenian players may end up playing. Could be scouted by them, end up playing for them. So we look forward for that.
And then kind of next thing to talk about is going to be SAFC's next match against Las Vegas Lights, which is on Friday, I believe. Which is going to be in Vegas. Is it Saturday or is it Friday?
It's a Friday night game.
It is Friday night, right? Which is really weird, but it's very Vegas. Yeah, they play Lights, and we would have a preview on the Lights, but who knows who they're going to play because it's going to be LAFC players. So, who got their first win of their season recently, and they look good. They look competitive, but the other matches they really haven't. So who knows what you're going to get? That's just kind of one of those factors of playing a borderline MLS2 team. So we'll see who shows up. What we do know is that Patino is not going to be available. Hopefully he just has the 1-game suspension. I don't think there was really any malicious act on his part. I mean, there was some pushing and shoving and hands to face, but nothing
to hurt anybody.
No punches were thrown. No, he didn't pull a Josh Ford or anything.
He just did some Rick James slapping. That's all he did.
Exactly, which I mean, that's acceptable in most places. Not really, but still not a good look. But at the same time, is what it is. And he brought the other dude down with him, which is awesome. That's some pro level stuff for a young kid to do that. Attaboy. But Patino will not be available. Cuello will be available, so that's really good for our midfield depth, which that really helps me out. I think it really helps out the FCFC lineup. He's probably going to take the place of Ollie Wright, and like I was saying, Ollie Wright, his powers were kind of diminished a bit just because he had to track back a lot more.
No.
Cuello was a lot more comfortable tracking back, and he's a lot better at connecting that defensive midfield with the attack and linking up with Nathan. So I think that's going to help our attack as well. What are your thoughts on just those players, Patino not being available and Cuello being available on this next match?
Well, we lose our leading scorer for the game, but we have plenty of depth up front. Like I said, we have Perusa, we got from Toronto, and we got scored on his debut or his re-debut when we got him signed, and then Dylan. Like I said, Dylan's another one. That's what I was looking forward to seeing. There's a reason why we signed him. To pair him up with Patino, but that's not going to happen just yet. But hey, maybe we can pair him up with Perusa. I think that's still a formidable 1-2 punch. Yep. But if we're going to play a 3-4-3 again, one of the changes I do want to see is I do want to see Gallegos in right from the start. I think he can start with Nathan and Perusa up top. I think that will give Las Vegas. Yeah, we gotta bring the sauce to Las Vegas, and and I think that will give them trouble. Especially, and then also be more creative on chances, creating goals. And that's one thing with Perusa, he's also a kind of creator of his shots. So that's going to help open up things. And then having Cuello back is going to be, a key, especially now, like I said, without PC. But Cuello's a good substitute for that. Changes, as far as, like I said, Lily's doing a great job. I do want to see maybe Lima be put it in the middle. And then maybe have, on the outside, we can, that's I think that's the key there is we need to find somebody that we can put on Doyle's side that can recover, that has the speed, that can really give them support.
Well, we have two of those players. One's name's PC, one's named Connor Maloney, and they're both unavailable. So that kind of sucks. They're on our roster, just unavailable. So
I hopefully Maloney, like I said, we don't know how serious with Maloney's injury. excuse me, but I'm hopefully maybe he makes his debut, in Vegas. We're hoping we do get him back.
Yep.
I mean, another option we could put Epps on the left side. I mean, he can be on the wing too. I mean, he's played that position. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
It's a gamble.
Yeah, it's a
but
gamble.
It's a gamble, but if we can create enough firepower, especially like I said, Las Vegas is basically a train wreck. We don't know what they're gonna have. We don't know who's gonna play or what.
Vegas Lights is like a box of chocolates. You never know
Mhm.
what you're gonna try to pick up dollar bills off of the pitch from a helicopter dropping $1,000. So that was a really weird rant, but you know what? They did that, and now they have pitch side pools. They have kiddie pools you can weigh in, that you can wait in for a price. If you have a Toyota, you can pull up your car. It's very Las Vegas. What they're
Well,
doing.
now that the Elvis.
Oh, good Lord, Vegas Elvis.
The
One of the
the
weird things is
mascot.
that Vegas does all of this gimmicky crap, yet they've had Eric Winalda as a coach, who's very no nonsense person. Now they have the mayor of Hanover, Steve Cherundolo, USMNT legend, as their coach. Like, you're doing all this hokey stuff, but you're bringing in very serious, good coaches. It's such a weird mix and weird vibe. At least, what's his name? Luis Ochoa's not there anymore. That's for the best.
Well, then also they travel. Remember, they travel from LA to Las Vegas for games.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, every game. Yep, they train in LA,
and that's a weird, and that's kind of weird too. Sooner or later, that's going to wear off on that team, and I don't see what the benefit out of that. I understand maybe training with because LA,
it's training with the
first team. I understand that, but that's going to eventually catch up to them. But I think this is an opportunity for SAFC to steal 3 points. Like I said, we're on a 3-game road trip. Usually when you go on a 3-game road trip, your goal is to at least get 6 or 7 points. And, well, we got 1. And I think this is a game that we can get 3. And then, like I said, the next one after that's going to be on a Wednesday night, which I don't know why they're having a Wednesday night, against New Mexico.
Very compacted schedule because of the times. Yeah.
And so that game, that game's always tough for SAFC. We haven't had much luck over there in New Mexico. But if we can steal a point there, if we can come out of this road trip at least with 5 points,
I agree.
I think that's
5 points
us.
is your goal. Yeah, 5 points is your goal. Anything above that is gravy, for sure.
But this is going to be, I think, if we can win this game on Friday night, it'll get us momentum going to the next one. So I think SAFC really is going to have to be aggressive, get on the board, get on the scoreboard first, put some doubt on this team and just stay relentless and not, give up an inch on them because, like I said, the Las Vegas is coming in with a win. I saw little clips of them. Like I said, they're excited about that.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're looking forward with this. Like, hey, we have a chance with SAFC. They'd have a good, result with Colorado. Like I said, they want to take an opportunity on this. But for us, like I said, we need to get these 3 points, no matter what.
It's a business trip. Yep. It's a business trip. Go get your 3 points on this trip for sure. All right. I think that's pretty much all we're going to cover today. With today's show, obviously my first time hosting. I need to come up with some fun topics or something. But your final thoughts, Rafa, on this fine Monday?
Just like I said, just a crazy weekend of soccer. This is like I said.
That's right.
Yeah, but this is gonna be a crazy month because you got other competitions going to be popping up.
Euros,
Copa America, Gold Cup. So it's going to be very exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. And, I think my final thought, like I said, just like I said, keep up with the vaccines. Like I said, we're getting that down each pretty much every week. And that's a positive thing. And like I said, I got an email today from my ticket rep. They're about, we're going to go 100% July 3rd, which is going to be great because, like I said, it's against Austin on a rivalry game. We want to pack the house. send Austin back home with a loss, but we want to have a real loud crowd there for that game. So just keep it up, stay safe, um, and also just a little just shout out to all to the grad. I know there's more graduates. Like I had a cousin graduated yesterday from Marshall High School, so congratulations, Caitlin, if you're watching. Congratulations on your graduation there from Marshall High School, and I look forward for this for this game on Friday night. See what we do against Las Vegas.
Yeah. My final thoughts reflected in the same. Just congratulations to the graduates. I have one of my kiddos graduated from high school, and she'll be heading off to college, and we're super excited about that, and to watch her grow in the future. Definitely, like you said, I mean, just get vaccinated. They're available. There's really no excuse not to. You can even call the city and set up, if you're going to have like a party or a get together, you can have somebody with vaccines come over for free, and they will distribute those vaccines. So you can turn your little party or your get together into a mass vaccination event, which is awesome. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm all out of stuff to say, which is kind of weird for me, but
I
USA
want to add one more thing. For Pride Night, if anyone like those, I don't know if you saw the new warm up jersey.
Those look awesome. Yeah,
if you have a chance, buy those. Those look
Yeah.
great. Props to SAFC for those.
for sure. I want one of the team worn ones with that are signed or whatever. I'm gonna throw. Don't tell my wife. I'm gonna throw some money in the auction to get one of those. Those look sick. Those look awesome. Yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. I'm sure. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm pretty confident this whole show we're allies. So for sure, be who you are, love who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's your prerogative. Nobody should have any say so in that. So, all right. I guess that's it. USA is the first CONCACAF Nations League champions. You always remember your first, and that happens to be the first. So that's good. And what's life without goals? See y'all.